Vanguard. It's a card game where you can become a leader and fight your way to victory.
Imagine it. Imagination becomes your strength.
Hey, what's up, card fighters? This is Dev from Dev's Utopia, and I got an amazing deck tech for you today. We're going to be running the Beast Deity engine for Nova Grapplers. This deck list consists of 10 grade 3s, 12 grade 2s, 11 grade 1s, and 17 grade 0s. Starting off with our main Vanguard, we're going to be running 4 copies of Beast Deity Azure Dragon. Its skills read: Auto, Vanguard Circle, when placed, cost, Counterblast 1, draw a card, call a card from your hand to the rearguard circle, and attack your opponent's Vanguard with that unit. If that attack did not hit, at the end of the battle, stand that unit. Its second skill reads: Auto, Vanguard Circle, when it attacks, cost, Counterblast 1, and stand one of your rearguards. Next, we're going to be running 4 copies of Ultra Beast Deity Illuminal Dragon. Its skills read: Auto, Vanguard Circle, once per turn. At the end of the battle, your rearguard attack and does not hit, cost, Counterblast 1, stand that unit, and it gets power plus 10k until the end of the turn. Attack your opponent's Vanguard with that unit. Its second skill reads: Auto, Vanguard Circle, and Rearguard Circle. Once per turn, when your other unit's attack hits, this unit gets plus 15k power until the end of the turn. And for the last of the grade 3s, we're going to be running 2 copies of Insight's Riser. Now, Insight's Riser skill reads: Auto, Vanguard Circle. When it attacks, cost, Counterblast 1, and stand all of your rearguards on additional rearguard circles. Additional rearguard circles are only your Excel circles, so please keep that in mind before you attack with this Vanguard. So starting off with our grade 2 lineup, we're going to be running 4 copies of Beast Deity Black Tortoise. Its skill reads: Act, Rearguard Circle, once per turn, cost, Counterblast 1, and Soul Blast 1. Stand this unit and attack your opponent's Vanguard with it. If that attack did not hit, at the end of the battle, stand this unit. Next up, we'll be running 4 copies of Brutal Jack. Its first skill reads: Continuous, Vanguard Circle, and Rearguard Circle. During your turn, this unit gets power plus 10k. Its second skill reads: Continuous, Rearguard Circle. This unit cannot stand during your stand phase. And its last skill reads: Act, Rearguard Circle, once per turn. Cost, rest 2 rearguards and stand this unit. Now, before I go any further, I want to make sure I state this really important. Brutal Jack is always supposed to be in the Excel circle. Never put him in the main field, but I'll go more into that when I talk about combos and strategies. And lastly, for our grade 2 lineup, we're going to be running 4 copies of Boomerang Thrower. Its skills read: Auto, Rearguard Circle, when placed, if you have 1 or less face-up cards in your damage zone, countercharge 1. And its second skill reads: Auto, Rearguard Circle, when placed, if you have 1 or less cards in your soul charge 1. Now, don't kill me. There's a reason Boomerang Thrower is in here. I know a lot of people were probably expecting Iron Killer, but trust me, just wait until a little bit further in the video. Starting off with our grade 1 lineup, we're going to be running 4 copies of Beast Deity Scarlet Bird. Its effect reads: Auto, Rearguard Circle, when placed during your main phase, cost, Soul Blast 1, stand all of your units, and if you stand 2 or more units, and if Beast Deity White Tiger is in your soul, draw a card. And then next, we're going to be running 4 copies of Claydol Mechanic. Its skills read: Auto, Rearguard Circle, when placed, if you have a total of 4 or less cards in your hand and rearguards, draw a card. Its second skill reads: Auto, Rearguard Circle, when you counterblast, cost, retire this unit, and countercharge 1. And last but not least, we run 3 copies of Riser Custom. It has 2 skills. Its first skill reads: Act, Vanguard Circle, once per turn, cost, put a card from your hand into your soul, and this unit can attack even on your first turn, and it gets -1 drive check. Its second skill reads: Auto, Rearguard Circle, once per turn. When your other rearguard is in the same column as this unit stands, you may stand this unit. For your grade 0 lineup, you really want to make sure that Beast Deity White Tiger is your starting Vanguard. When it comes to triggers, you want to run 4 heal, 4 front, 4 critical, and 4 draw PGs. Before I go into combos and strategies, I must address the elephant in the room. I know that Illuminal Dragon is not out yet. I know it comes out next month. So some really good alternative options is Battledore Fighter and Assure Kaiser. Assure Kaiser skill allowing you to drive check and then hopefully stand up one of your units will come in handy, especially if you can't spend, if you can't rest any other units for Brutal Jack's skill to stand back up. As well as Battledore Fighter's first Vanguard skill that says Counter Blast and Soul Blast, and then choose a unit, and your opponent would have to be forced to call a second card from their hand to the Guardian Circle in order to block that attack, that unit's attack. That will really come in handy for Brutal Jack, because to be honest, if I must put it simply, Brutal Jack is going to be your main powerhouse for this entire deck. I feel like Brutal Jack is that Excel card. Like Brutal Jack is that Maximum Riser of the deck. And speaking of Maximum Riser, I highly suggest you do not run Maximum Riser in this deck. Maximum Riser and Brutal Jack do not mesh well because they both want to be the Excel attacker. They both want to be on the Excel circle. And not only that is, if you have some bad luck one day and you keep riding Maximum Riser, you don't get an imaginary gift. You don't get that extra attacker. You don't get that extra circle. So it really hurts the deck. That's why you want to probably just keep Maximum Riser with all the other Riser cards and the other Riser decks and everything. That being said, I know that Insight's Riser is in this deck as well, but that's really because it's a really good card. So picture it like this. The best example I can give is like you just draw Insight's Riser, you ride, get another Excel circle, and let's say like all your Excel circles either have like Black Tortoise or Brutal Jack. So just in case you can't rest any more units to get Brutal Jack to stand up, you can attack with Insight's Riser, stand up all of your rear guards on the Excel circle, and then hopefully even get a drive check and reveal a trigger and give that power to a Brutal Jack and be able to swing for some ridiculous numbers. To continue on with more like strategies and combos, I want to make sure to emphasize that Black Tortoise is going to be your main way to thin your opponent's hand, because it's going to always add up to like its act skill. Even though it's once per turn, it doesn't stop you from like calling another Black Tortoise to the other rearguard circle and then using skill and being able to attack. Now, yes, there is the opportunity that your opponent will damage check a trigger, but that's just the risk you got to take with this deck. You have to attack. You can't stop attacking. You have to pummel them into the ground. And even though that cost is really heavy, Counter Blast, Soul Blast, you don't have like a lot of soul, that is the reason why I have Boomerang Thrower in here. Boomerang Thrower is your resource management. Boomerang Thrower is going to make it a lot easier because it can do both. Literally, Boomerang Thrower counter charges and soul charges. Boomerang Thrower is also the reason I don't have Screaming and Dancing Announcer Shout in the deck. To put it simply, Screaming and Dancing Announcer Shout, like, it's cool. I like it. I'm digging it. But we're not a control deck. We're an Excel deck. We are here to beat our opponents into the ground. We are the Beast Deities. We attack and we keep attacking until our opponent is gone. Screaming, Dance, and Announcer Shout is not fitting the playstyle, and that card advancement is going to really hurt Claydol Mechanic. You really want to make sure you get the best of both worlds out of all of your cards. Claydol Mechanic has a very specific cost for its first skill to go off. You have to have 4 or less cards in your hand and rear guards to be able to draw that extra card, and you really want to make sure you can get that effect off. You really want to make sure you can get the benefit. You can benefit from all of your cards in the deck. But that's why I also say, be careful what you Soul Blast. Scarlet Bird needs Beast Deity, White Tiger in your soul. So legit, you got to be careful. You got to make sure you don't have like a ton of cards in your hand. Don't be afraid to block. Don't be afraid to block for your rear guard specifically. Brutal Jack is a really scary Excel monster. Our enemies are going to always attack Brutal Jack whenever they can because they're tired of always getting hit with these 29k like beat stick. Speaking of which and everything, if there might be a time where you're just going to have to keep taking punches to your Vanguard's face, like, you have to just be okay with it, as long as they're not trying to single out specific rear guards. All that being said, of course, you need to remember you don't have to waste cards just to protect Brutal Jack, because you have 4 of them. Keep in mind the number of cards you've seen. Like, keep in mind what goes into your damage zone and what goes into your drop area, because that comes in handy. Because, like, listen, if you only have 2 Brutal Jacks left, like say the other 2 are in the damage zone, protect them as much as you can, but don't waste heal triggers on it. Use like the 15k shield, you know, and like even if you have Boomerang Thrower on the field, right? You can use Boomerang Thrower to intercept as well. Boomerang Thrower is a when-placed counter charger and soul charger. After it's done doing that, it's worthless. If anything, if you can't even hit that, its cost to, you know, soul charge and counter charge and everything, if you feel like it's not the right time or you just can't do it because you're not able to get Black Tortoise, you know, use it as PG fodder. You know, discard it from your hand to use a Sentinel and everything. Don't be afraid to, because at the end of the day, you know, it's just Brutal Jack, Black Tortoise. Those are the stars of the. Those are, like, to be honest, those are the stars that, you know, Azure Dragon is amazing. It does help, but Illuminal Dragon comes out next month. Like I said, you know, it makes it a lot scarier. But at the same time and everything, you want to make sure you can keep the consistent pressure on your opponent. Now, the reason I have Riser Custom in our deck and everything, right, is because Black Tortoise can benefit. Like, the Black Tortoise and Riser Custom, like, they're a perfect team. So, for example, let's say Brutal Jack is in Excel Circle, and you have 2 Riser Customs in the rearguard circles. So you choose to rest the Riser Customs. You call a Black Tortoise to the field in front of one of them, right? You use Black Tortoise's skill, and if it stands back up, guess what? The Riser Custom stands too. Of course, it's once per turn, but literally, you were able to stand Brutal Jack for free. If you had 2 Black Tortoises and were able to stand both of them up and everything, you know, you didn't spend that much. Just in case you don't have that Scarlet Bird and everything, you don't have to worry about not being able to hit everything and not being able to stand everything. Like, and to be honest and everything, you don't want Riser Custom behind your Vanguard. Your Vanguards cannot stand up. In this deck, only your rear guards stand up. That's why the rear guards have to shine more than Vanguard. That's why I'm not putting in Perfect Riser, because the Beast Deities focus on the supporting attackers. The Beast Deities focus on the amount of attacks being dealt throughout the, you know, entire battle phase. So remember, you know, like, behind the rear guard circle behind the Vanguard is usually, it's like saved for Scarlet Bird or Claydol Mechanic. Claydol Mechanic gets rid of itself. As soon as you counterblast using Black Tortoise, it's gone. But Scarlet Bird, it's a win-play skill. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid at all to get rid of it, to put another Scarlet Bird down or a Claydol Mechanic. Because at the end of the day, you know, it just makes it, the plays are a lot easier once you, like, remember everything and remember how to time it all. You don't have to use everything at once either. You can keep your opponent guessing. Black Tortoise is an axe skill. You're not in your battle phase. You don't have to immediately attack after that goes off. You can, like, test the waters and everything. Like, just don't immediately play Scarlet Bird just because you have 2 Brutal Jacks and Excel Circles still rested and everything. Call Black Tortoise, have him attack first, you know what I'm saying? And then call Scarlet Bird. This deck is really reactionary, like, for the opponent and for you as well. Oh, did they get a damage? Did they get a heal trigger for their damage check? Well, I guess I won't be dealing as much damage as I want this turn. Can I still hit? Can I still attack them? Is it worth it? You got to really just put that all in your mind before you continue to go and, like, just make all of these plays, because you can't take it back. There are no cards in this deck that say put a rear guard back in your hand. So you got to just pick your moments. Of course, you have to go for the killing blow. You can't let your opponent get too ahead of you. So don't just keep waiting for the opportune moment, and then now you're at 5 damage, and now, like, your opponent's is too beefy. You can't do anything about it. And I want to make sure that I give this advice too. Think about it like this. Make sure you take down their rear guards. Make sure you attack their rear guards. Destroy their supporting attacks. Make it harder for them to deal with all of these attacks. You don't always have to attack the Vanguard. You can always attack one of their important rear guards. Forest clans really do need this extra support from their rear guards. So taking down that grade 2 that's getting on your nerves, sometimes it is worth it. Yes, some of the skills mainly focus on calling and then attacking the Vanguard. But remember, when you're battle phase, you can be picky. you can attack a rear guard and try to get rid of it immediately. You know, it doesn't always have to be Vanguard, Vanguard, Vanguard. Alright guys, I really hope you like this deck tech and everything. Before I go, I really want to suggest that you play around with the trigger lineup. Now, front triggers are there because front triggers make sure that you can hit, and front triggers are good defensive plays. Front triggers can keep your Brutal Jacks safe. Front triggers can keep your Vanguard safe as well as your other rear guards safe. Front triggers are worth it. Do not replace them or put them to 2 or put them with 2 of and everything. Listen, criticals are cool, yeah, but front triggers make it that you can still use that other unit. You know, it makes it harder for your opponent to get rid of your units, especially since they come in handy both when you're on the attacking and on the defending. That's all I'm trying to say. We have some more content coming soon. We have Starhawk deities deck tech coming up, I believe, hopefully before the end of this month. And then I have an Overlord deck for you guys, both Overlord the Great and Overlord at the End. And I'm really looking forward to it, to be honest. I hope you guys are having a lot of like good pulls. By the time I'm recording this, I'm like 1 day before I get all of my boxes and everything, so I'm going to be looking forward to that, of course. And yeah, just tell me what you think. Have you used the deck already? Have you already proxied? Like, what do you suggest? What do you think that should be in the deck and everything? Do you like Boomerang Thrower? Am I the only one that see why Boomerang Thrower is good? Well, I hope you guys have a nice day and everything. All right, peace.